Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the A24 Archive. This is the series on my channel that I go back through A24's entire filmography, from the first film that they produced all the way to whenever I get current. And this has been a really fun segment for me at times, and then there's other times that it has been an absolutely miserable segment for me. And today is going to be one of those miserable times because the movie I'm talking about today was not a very good movie. And the film I'm going to be discussing is Mojave. Mojave is directed by William Monahan. A suicidal artist goes into the desert where he finds his doppelganger, a homicidal drifter. So, the only word I can really use to describe this film is a mess. It truly has no redeemable qualities whatsoever. And honestly, this might end up being one of the shortest reviews I have ever done on my channel because I will be completely honest, throughout the runtime of the film, which I think it's about an hour and a half long, I was already forgetting elements in the middle of watching it. And I've watched a lot of movies in my life. There's things I haven't seen for 12 years that I can still remember specific details completely about movies. And this is a film that is so forgettable that literally the moment the credits rolled, I had forgotten 99% of what happened. The story follows Thomas, played by Garrett Hedlund, who we're introduced to at the beginning of the film. It's kind of mysterious the way that he's introduced, and he ends up wandering into the desert and running into Oscar Isaac's character, who I don't know who wrote the dialogue for Oscar Isaac's character, but it literally was like he was trying to be a caricature or an interpretation of Hulk Hogan, where he was literally saying brother like every other line. It was the most obnoxious garbage I've ever seen, which is wild because Oscar Isaac is truly one of the most talented actors working. And so the two of them run into each other in the desert. They end up talking for a while, they get into it, and they end up trying to kill each other. And then the movie becomes this like cat and mouse game between the two of them, while at the same time attempting to be a commentary on the film industry, but it's done so in a way that is just so obnoxious and ham-fisted. Like, all of the dialogue in this is so irritating. And what's really surprising is there's a lot of really big talent that shows up in this movie, and they're all wasted. Even Mark Wahlberg shows up at one point in this film, and it's like each one of their characters, they don't matter because this movie ends up amounting to nothing. They get you to the point in your head where you're trying to decipher who is Oscar Isaac's character, why is he out to get Garrett Hedlund's character, what is his reason for doing this. He literally attempts in any way possible to get to his character. It's really a premise that if it was executed better or by a better filmmaker and they looked at it through the lens of it just being this like cat and mouse game without trying to be this large overt commentary on something else, that it might work a little bit better. But this ended up just being a really sloppy and boring mess. And I said this in my Letterboxd review, but I've noticed this is like the 28th or 29th film I think in A24's catalog I've watched. I'm not 100% sure. But what I have noticed throughout A24's career so far in the span of the films that I've watched is that if DirectTV is attached to it, with the exception of, I believe, Slow West, which I really enjoyed, Runaway. The movies that they produce with DirectTV, literally almost 100% of the time, have been absolute trash. Like, just horrible writing, just terribly put together, barely lethal. The film with Haley Steinfeld was one of those. And I think the reason why they paired for DirectTV is that A24 had no faith that these films would succeed in the box office, and so they're like, we'll just push it on there and people can rent it on their satellite. And it honestly, it just was not it was not a fun experience. I don't really have anything else to say other than avoid this movie. It is a complete and total waste of time. The cinematography isn't really interesting. It's relatively flat. The score is forgettable. The performances are forgettable. Like I said, Oscar Isaac, even, who you look at his catalog in A24, what I've watched already, films like A Most Violent Year and Ex Machina, where he's just absolutely incredible, and then you look at something like this that is just so flat and pointless, and it was just a really boring experience, and I'm upset that I sat through it. So have you seen Mojave? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Leave me a comment down below and let me know what you thought. I thought this movie was absolutely terrible. I did not enjoy it at all. I felt like the performances were lackluster, the story was horrible, and it just really didn't do anything for me. As always, if you can like the video and subscribe to the channel, it helps me out a lot and lets me know the type of content you're looking for. I'm always putting out new material and look forward to getting more out for you in the near future. And as always, everyone, thank you so much for watching and have a great rest of your day.